A very good evening. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. It's a Tuesday evening and it's a delight joining you with the latest happenings throughout the country. Of course, tonight we'll talk about politics. We'll bring you the social issues. We'll bring you updates from our world of education and we'll touch base with some sports and business stories. Be my guest throughout as we bring you the latest. But before we bring you the details, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, Parliament reconvenes for its second session with the majority and minority locking horns over the reported $214 million linked to the Bank of Ghana's Gold Reserve Program.
We must demand answers to the questions the nation is asking. Who designed this flawed program? Who authorized the pricing and the fee structure that led to such losses? They deserve commendation for the discipline, experience, and clarity with which they have governed during a challenging period of our nation.
Well, on Inside tonight, we examine revelations by the majority leader hinting of possible legislation to rename Kotoka International Airport as Accra International Airport.
We are changing the name of our airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport.
And then we'll bring you some updates from our world of business as Ghana is estimated to have lost over $50 million to trade-related illicit financial flows over the past decade, ranking the country third most affected in Africa. And on the foreign front, more than 50,000 people have been evacuated as floods hit. The other interesting stories making the 1 hour bulletin. Stay with us as we bring you all these stories and many more. My name is Kweku. It's a delight having you on the bulletin tonight. Let's take our very first story, and rather on a sad note, a 17-year-old boy, Kweku, is in critical condition after allegedly being brutally assaulted in Kweku in the central region. Well, according to reports, an angry father tied the teenager to a tricycle and dragged him along a rough road, leaving him seriously injured with torn clothing. Well, Kweku admitted he had previously been in a relationship with the man's 14-year-old daughter, but ended 8 months ago. Well, in recounting his ordeal, he narrated that the girl's father took him to the outskirts of Kweku community and forced him to choose between death and life-threatening injuries. Relatives confirmed the incident has been reported to the police. The suspect, 36-year-old Issa Boama, admitted to causing the injuries, saying his actions were meant to stop the relationship. All right, so we'll look at education at this time, and here the Teacher Trainees Association, Ghana, CITAC, is urging government to pay outstanding allowances to members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association before February 9th. The association stresses the timely payment of is vital for the welfare of its members and the smooth running of their training. CITAC, which has been on strike since November 24, 2025, is demanding full implementation of the National Labour Commission's May 2023 arbitral awards. Speaking to Star News, National President Divine Nenija urged CITAC to consider legal action, nothing that government has only addressed 3 of the 5 key demands.
As we speak, CTAC is on strike, and all teacher trainees, as we speak, they are at home, not even knowing when they are to report. This remains one of the greatest challenges facing us currently as an association. And today, we also want to use this opportunity to appreciate the government for demonstrating commitment, at least by giving clearance to be able to resolve the strike issue. And we use this avenue as well to plead with the government as well to fast-track the process in a way that the true reflection of the monies that are given will hit the accounts of CTAC members or CTAC, and they'll be able to come back to the classroom before the 9th February. That is next week, Monday, God willing. I as well want to use this opportunity to speak and appeal directly to the CTAC members that it is certain that out of the 5 issues, it is 3 of the issues that the government is tackling now. We also want to appeal that if the true reflection happens, they should consider the state of teacher trainees and explore all other legal means as well of getting the 2 issues resolved so that teacher trainees will be able to come back to school. Because as we speak, our provisions and all other staffs are already hoping that we are coming back on the 9th of February. So it will be very unfortunate and sad if it happens that the 9th February that we are hoping to return changes again. So we appeal to CTAC to consider when the true reflection of the 3 issues reflect in the accounts as they anticipate.
All right, we're joined on the phone lines by the Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, talking about Fidelis Kamai. Fidelis, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So help me get a clearer understanding. What specific demand from the National Labour Commission's May 2023, as I've just gone back to dig the archives, the May 2023 arbitral awards remain unaddressed by the government. Reason why all these actions by CTAC should come off? All right, so we're trying to raise Fidelis Kamai on the line. Fidelis Kamai is the Secretary of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association. Fidelis, thank you.
Hello.
I'm grateful that you... Can you hear me now, Fidelis?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
All right, it looks like Fidelis cannot hear me. I can hear him loud and clear, but CTAC is deciding to embark on a strike from 9th February, and Kamai is on the line to help us get a clearer understanding. Well, they've mentioned that the Labour Commissions, that's the National Labour Commission's May 2023 arbitral awards, some of them have not been addressed, the reasons why they are taking this action. Out of the 5 that were outlined, only a few have been outlined. So let me try again and get Fidelis Kamai on the line. Fidelis, thank you very much. Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening to you and your viewers.
Absolutely. We are grateful having you on the line. So just a short while ago, I was telling my viewers about your concern. Now, I'm tempted to ask you, out of the numerous agreements with the National Labour Commission, which ones have not been addressed? Reasons why you mentioned that, look, we're embarking on this action come 9th February.
Thank you so much for the question. As we outlined in a press release declaring a strike, there were 5 outstanding issues on which we declared a strike. Number 1 was that some of our staff were downgraded to principal instructors, and that issue was sent to National Commission for another determination. We also have 2022-2023 book and research allowance arrears, 23-24 book and research allowance arrears, all year-round work compensation, and finally, a Kweku education research allowance up for 2022. So out of these 5, 3 of them, the minister has indicated that they are going to handle them or with a letter indicating that they're going to address them. And these are 2024 book and research allowance all year-round work compensation, and then the top-up for education book and research allowance. So these are 3 that is the line being attended to our government.
Fidelis, if you may kindly position yourself, well, it's become very difficult hearing you at this moment. I don't know if you can hear me, but can you hear me at this moment? Well, the line, unfortunately, is not too clear. Reasons why maybe we won't be able to continue. Yes, okay. Fidelis, kindly round it up for me shortly.
Okay, so the outstanding ones are one, the 2022-2023 book and research allowance arrears, and also the downgrading of our staff to principal instructors. So these are the outstanding issues that are yet to be attended to.
Shortly, within 30 seconds, what has been the level of engagement? Have you exhausted all avenues? Unfortunately, Fidelis is off the line. We're grateful. He says some have not been addressed, and he's mentioned those ones. So we will still be on the subject as and when we have more information on it, we will share with you. But let me take other stories tonight. And here, the Senior Staff Association of the University of Ghana has declared a nationwide strike over government's failure to address long-standing demands for improved working conditions. Well, despite several protests and negotiations, the indefinite industrial action takes effect today, February 3, 2026. While addressing the media, chairperson of the SSOUG, Gladys Alantia, said members will remain off duty until government meets their demand, including paying off outstanding allowances and improved conditions of service. Well, the union further explained that the strike was largely triggered by what it describes as a unilateral decision by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to vary previously agreed conditions of service, particularly allowances for senior staff of public universities.
All senior staff in all categories are involved. All senior staff in all categories are involved.
All right, so you would want to get more updates on this particular story. The strike action has started today, and as they say, it includes all their members. Well, Alhaji Haruna Rafiq is the chairperson of the Senior Staff Association, University of Ghana, Kolebu campus. Well, thank you, Alhaji Haruna Rafiq, for joining me via Zoom tonight. Alhaji, so despite several assurances from government, why do you think this strike has become necessary, Alhaji?
Hello, good evening to all your cherished listeners and viewers.
Yes, Alhaji, if you can hear me, I can hear you clearly. So government has given several assurances that, look, all your grievances would be addressed. But despite all the assurances, you have gone ahead to embark on this strike. Why?
Yes, so our basic reason has to do with the unilateral alteration of our conditions of service. Please, are you with me?
I am with you loud and clear. Please, kindly go on.
Okay, so we have had several engagements with government, and that is when we got to a stalemate during negotiations and the item of overtime came up. Because whilst we were negotiating, Fair Wages on Salaries and Salaries Commission decided to write to our management to stop paying overtime and replace it with call-in allowance, which we said this is alien to us because in our conditions of service, which is a living document, there's nothing like call-in allowance. So this is alien to us. And in any case, we are still negotiating and we have not concluded. So if we haven't concluded, usually the status quo is supposed to hold. But strangely, this letter went and we demanded that that letter be withdrawn. And they refused. That is what led to the stalemate of the negotiation. Then quickly, we indicated, we gave an intention to embark on industrial action. We're at the National Labour Commission and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission themselves, through their rep, came to testify that actually in 2021, there is an existing arrangement which says that the overtime should continue to be paid to all staff who work overtime. So after this testimony, in the next hearing, they came back and said they testified in error, which is quite strange. And strangely, the National Labour Commission heard this case and decided to even make it look more like we who had come to the National Labour Commission demanding the right thing to be done. They are now telling us that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission had come to say there's a stalemate, so they should look at the issue of the stalemate. And we said, no, this is not the matter. Then we explained to them, the genesis of the whole thing and proved with evidence the existing arrangement that we have, which is overtime should be paid, overtime allowance should be paid. And if I may make this clear, the call-in allowance is a far lower rate. And so if our staff who work overtime are to be paid the call-in allowance, they are going to be shortchanged. And this is why we are raising this red flag. And again, they brought the issue of leave days. Currently, every senior staff in the public university is entitled to 40 days leave. In their new proposal, they are asking for 28 days. And they are using a certain document, public sector document, which we are not a signatory to. We do not know why they would want to go, bypass the National Labour Commission, which is currently hearing our case, and then take that decision. So our major concern is the fact that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is not respecting the National Labour Commission. That's why they have taken that unilateral decision. And so by that, we too have decided to take our decision. And ours is to withdraw our services. This is not the only issue. Our tier 2 allowances, our tier 2 deductions have been made. And when these deductions are made, government is supposed to pay these deductions to our fund managers. For several months, government has defaulted. And the law by NPRA, National Pensions Regulatory Authority, is that if you default, you pay 3% every other day. And government, for so many months, have defaulted. And usually when they default in this manner and we push them and they decide to even go and pay, as soon as they make this payment, getting the penalty paid is also another matter. They will never pay. And this also means that the worker is being shortchanged, because if this money get to our fund managers early, they will invest it, and the investment becomes what we would be benefiting someday, if we go on retirement. And the final one has to do with our colleagues at UNIMAC. UNIMAC was upgraded to a fully fledged university. And when they were upgraded, they were not being paid by the new university salary structure. They were paid by their old system. And for 4 years, they never enjoyed the new university salary structure payments. And they have been asking and pushing for the arrears to be paid to them, what the university defaulted. And for so long, they were not getting it. It went to National Labour Commission. National Labour Commission has directed Ministry of Finance to do the needful by releasing funds to pay these people. And till now, they have not even responded. Even the courtesy of responding to the National Labour Commission, Ministry of Finance hasn't done that. So we have decided that where we have gotten to, the only option that we have available to us is to declare this industrial action. And like I said earlier on, previously, if we declared a strike, we usually make room for certain essential service. But this time around, due to the intensity of it and due to the volatile nature of this situation, we have decided to withdraw all services, including security, including our nurses, including, all the people that previously will be classified as essential service providers, because you cannot touch our living conditions of service and allow and think that we are going to be happy about it. This is where we have gotten to. We have to take this decision.
Alaji, thank you. We are grateful. Your point is well being made. We'll continue and bring you the rest of the stories tonight. We're going straight to Parliament, where the minority in Parliament has once again launched a campaign demanding a bipartisan probe into the over $240 million loss under the Gold for Reserve program. Well, this follows their adoption of a motion seeking clarification on the losses cited in the IMF report involving the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board. The minority insists on a full, transparent and immediate accounting to determine who designed what it describes as a flawed program. While speaking on the floor earlier, Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin welcomed the MPs back from recess and reiterated their call for accountability.
We are monetizing the destruction of our environment and the theft of our future to feed failing financial scheme. And as the data now proves, that scheme itself has backfired catastrophically. The gold bought at such great costs to our environment has seemingly vanished, and the money allocated to secure it has evaporated. When gold is turned to ghosts, the ghost that haunts the poor is hunger. When reserves disappear in millions and they vanish, and we are told that they are rather diversifying, the trust of the people dissolves into dust. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this House has a solemn and non-negotiable duty. We must insist on full, transparent, and immediate accounting. And we thank Mr. Speaker for admitting the motion by the minority to get into this matter. We must demand answers to the questions the nation is asking. Who designed this flawed program? Who authorized the pricing and the fee structure that led to such losses? Who profited from these transactions? And ultimately, who bears responsibility for this double disaster of missing millions and vanishing gold?
However, the calls have been shut down by the majority. Well, according to the majority leader, the minority should focus on appreciating the gains made instead of pursuing what he describes as a fruitless exercise.
Ghanaians expect solutions, not stalemate. It is also right, Honourable Speaker, that we acknowledge effective leadership when it delivers results. That is why I am here to once again commend President John Dramani Mahama and the National Democratic Congress, because they deserve commendation for the discipline, experience, and clarity with which they have governed during a challenging period of our nation. The progress recorded in restoring confidence, easing economic pressure, and laying the foundations for sustainable growth reflects leadership that has prioritized the national interests. Allow me to present an overview of Ghana's fiscal and macroeconomic performance in 2025, underscoring the key achievements and reforms that have strengthened our economy and laid a solid groundwork for 2026. The fiscal deficit for 2025 was contained at 1.8% of GDP, reflecting prudent fiscal management and improved revenue mobilization.
So the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumani Bagbin, has urged MPs to avoid extreme partisanship and instead focus on consensus building in parliamentary proceedings.
This meeting offers us a renewed opportunity to strengthen cooperation, build consensus on matters of national importance, restore and sustain public trust and confidence in Parliament through disciplined, transparent, and accountable conduct. It is my hope that honourable members will rise above partisanship when circumstances require us to do so, We should uphold the dignity of this House and work collectively to advance national development and improve the lives of our people. With these words, I wish all members a peaceful, productive, and purposeful deliberations during this meeting.
All right, this is News Tonight. My name is Kweku Temeng. We still have some more local stories for you, but yes, we'll take a quick breather. We're coming back shortly with more details. To stay. All right, thank you very much for keeping faith with us. It's now time for us to bring you insights. And is it going to remain Kotoka International Airport, or will we see Accra International Airport? Very shortly, we'll bring you all the details on Insights. All right, so let's bring you the details. The majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, has disclosed that government has begun processes to rename the Kotoka International Airport as the Accra International Airport. Well, he explained that the Transport Ministry will soon lay a bill before Parliament to effect the change. The announcement has triggered public debate given the historical significance of the airport's current name. While speaking to journalists in Parliament, Mr. Ayariga said the move is part of wider efforts to align public institutions with Ghana's democratic values and national identity.
Yeah, so the Minister for Transport will bring Maritime and Related Offences Bill, road traffic regulations to deal with the Okada legalization and the discipline that is needed on the roads by Okada riders and tricycle riders, and then the Ghana Shippers Council regulations. And we are changing the name of our airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So a bill will be brought by the Minister for Transport for the name of the airport to be changed from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So the Accra International Airport bill will also come, and then they will ask us to approve some international bilateral agreements and multilateral agreements for them.
Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Professor Kweku has criticized the government's latest move, questioning in his Facebook post how the decision advances education, promotes reconciliation, or strengthens Ghana's democracy. For you, that's his post on Facebook. He says, a nation that is at peace with itself does not spend its time endlessly renaming its landmark. Well, it spends its time understanding them. The renewed call and bill to rename Kotoka International Airport is not really about aviation, transport, or national branding. It is about how we choose to relate to our past, whether we engage it honestly or in all complexity, or reduce it to slogans, moral shortcuts, and selective outrage. Well, history is not a courtroom where only the innocent deserve to be remembered. So yes, Prof. Kweku continues to write. You can check his Facebook post. We've placed it on your screens there, bits and pieces of what he writes in there. All right, so we would want to get more details on this particular one. We recall January 20th, 2026, a private citizen, Stephen Odote-Few, also petitioned Parliament for change of name. Well, according to him, the country's principal point of entry cannot bear the name of a military leader associated with a coup d'etat. He also explains via Zoom for the conversation tonight for us. So let's engage a historian and a private citizen, Mr. Stephen Odote-Few. Well, thank you very much. But before then, Professor Samuel Gyamfi is on for us. He is with the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Prof, thank you very much. So yes, a call to change Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. Just give me your initial reaction.
Going forward, and that does not come with complexities at all, especially when we are sure that the name we are changing to rather gives it some pleasant outlook, and also better still, wouldn't divide opinion and create further future controversies. We would be able to embrace that future, and we'll be able to understand the fact that upon reflection, we will not contemplate to think that the past which we have embraced is that past which rather reminds us of coup d'etat and the major inflection points that led to coup d'etats and counter coup d'etats in Ghana's history, and that, if you like, encouraged coup d'etats and counter coup d'etats in the sub-region of Africa. Of Africa. I think that it is good that we make decisions and have choices based on our worldview. We are not Europeans, neither are we Americans, nor are we Asians. We are Africans. We are Ghanaians for that matter. and we have basis upon which we name. And if this reminds us of that which is not pleasant, reminds us of that which is not so good or too good, then we are able to think of that which would encourage us to look onto our good deeds and build on that, right?
Prophet Rijemfi, I am excited that you bear a bit of political history. Now, when we mention the name of Kotoka, I'd want you to share with my viewers tonight. Does it add any significance to, Ghana's historical significance? Does the name Kotoka bring any remembrance to us, at least? Because, yes, we grew up to the name, but does it not remind us that, look, once upon a time, this happened? Maybe not to get to that direction again or something.
Yes, so yes, a member of the ruling National Liberation Council, you'd remember that junta that ousted Nkrumah in 1966 and largely sponsored by outsiders, right? Not only that, he is celebrated amongst many who are haters of Nkrumah as a liberator. But fundamentally, is that what we Ghanaians in our entirety, say that Kotoka is a liberator? Yes. A fine general, no doubt, well-trained, had all the expertise and the skill, and served Ghana, that is no doubt. But is it the case that the coup d'etat which occurred was something we all agree to or would support as Ghanaians? The first of its kind, right? A properly constituted government, right? Under the laws of Ghana. It was not as if Nkrumah put a bullet to the head of any individual leading the state up to one-party state. Through constitutional processes, Ghana came to where it came to under Nkrumah. If anybody had a doubt, in my mind, Nkrumah was not so bad a leader to the extent that he had to be jettisoned. There were outsiders who were against his national interest. There were outsiders who were against his patriotism. There were others outsiders who were against his drive and zest for Pan-Africanism and, if you like, the African Renaissance. There were outsiders who felt that, like his kind, Patrice Emerson Lumumba, they had to be taken out. They had to be dealt with, so that the neo-colonial project will subsist. The post-1966, Ghana suffered several coups and counter-coup d'etat. Is that a blessing or a curse to our constitutional history and our democratic history? So there are critical questions we can reflect on. But I dare say that we have reasons why we give names. And if Kotoka's name should linger on at the point of entry when you travel by air and we are coming to Ghana, at the point of entry, in fact, Kotoka International Airport is the biggest and the major airport in Ghana. Is that the best name we can have?
All right.
Is that how we want to embrace issues? So these are critical questions we want to reflect on.
Definitely. And as we reflect on, we want Ghanaians to join us on our social media platform and share their thoughts. Well, joining me on Zoom is Dr. Ishmael Hlovo. Dr. Ishmael Hlovo is an international relations expert. He's joined me via Zoom. Dr. Ishmael Hlovo, you've heard Prof a while ago, and the big question remains, Kotoka International Airport to be changed to Accra International Airport. In fact, I sit here and I'm thinking IATA, I'm thinking all the other airports, the documentation and everything. I mean, you are an international relations expert. Is this easy?
Of course, we are going to bear some cost in trying to change it. Of course, you have to, all the signages and all the administrative letters and whatever you have to go through the process in changing them. But then given what is at stake, you have to pay some of these costs in order to have an international airport that will be bear a name that is neutral, a name that project the values of Ghana better than perhaps Kotoka will project it. So in as much as there's cost to be there, in as much as it will take time for people to recognize that the name has been changed and so forth and so on, it's a cost that you should bear, given the fact that Kotoka always invoked division. It invoked images of our imperialist masters intervening in our body politics and setting our development back in years. So you have to be ready to pay some of this cost. And this issue keep coming every now and then. And therefore, it is important that we settle it once and for all. I think that in as much as it involves cost, it's a justifiable cost that the state like Ghana should be able to bear. Moving it from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport, perhaps we may have to reconsider that and look for a more one of our national heroes that we think we can project to the world to know about and learn about. That may give that person some visibility. But of course, if we choose to call it Accra International Airport, that is just to make it more geographically centered with the city of Accra. So yes, there will be cost to it, but I think the state of Ghana should bear the cost.
Well, you are an international relations expert. I mean, you've suggested that maybe beyond Accra International Airport, we should look out for a name. But I'm confused here. Maybe you can help my viewers get a clearer understanding. Which name would you suggest that, look, going this direction could make it more iconic? Let it be said that Chief Lover once mentioned that it could go this direction.
So for me, any of the liberation heroes, national independence liberation heroes, from J.B. Dankwa, from Obechebi Lamte, to any of them that have played a meaningful role, a constructive role in the independence of Ghana, in the development of Ghana, that we think that by projecting such a person, it may serve our interest in attracting, in getting the international world to know more about the person and maybe leveraging it for tourism purpose. Any of those people can be used to kind of just bring the person to the limelight, market him well, and then people will get to learn about that person. Just as, of course, Kwame Nkrumah himself, he should also be considered. Although the argument is that he has so many monuments and named after him. But then, if Ghana has produced any single individual who is a global icon, who, when the name is mentioned, it gets international attention, then Kwame Nkrumah still will be one of the names that you want to consider. So you need those names that are very prominent in Ghanaian history, names that put their life on the line in the independence struggle of Ghana. I think that any of those names will be better off than Kotoka, because Kotoka doesn't invoke a good memory in terms of Ghana. It doesn't, particularly given the fact that we have always been a nation recognized as the leader in the liberation of Africa, in Pan-Africanism. So I think that, for me, where I stand, any of the independence heroes is well suited for that honor than the current name that we are giving to the airport.
Immediately, do you think, I mean, if you are trying to fly in from Singapore, it's just initiated the KIA or something, do you think that, you know, within a period, there will be a little bit of confusion in the aviation space when a name change comes up?
Not necessarily, because even when the name Kotoka is mentioned, you still have ACC, which is sometimes Accra. So it will not necessarily present any major challenges. Of course, once it is communicated through the aviation system, other airports will so recognize it. And of course, when you are buying your ticket, of course, most of the times you are saying you are going to Ghana. And that's the only international airport. That's the major entry into Ghana. So there will not be any confusion. Fine, passengers occasion, from the beginning will still continue to plead to Kotoka, those of them who know the place as Kotoka. But with time, as I said, the new name will become globally accepted, will become known commonly to everybody. And that's why if you are desiring to leverage on the name and as well as market one of your national liberation, then you have to do that, because over time, as the name change occur, people begin to ask about why are they changing the name? Why do they want this person to be there? And then that will spark people trying to investigate that person, the new person, and also the old person. And then you give a bit of Ghanaian history out there. So I'm not sure there will be any major confusion. Of course, even when you have Kotoka, people know that it's Accra, that the airport, and this is the only airport in Accra. And then, so there will not be any major confusion among passengers, among the flights moving from all over the world to Accra. There will be no major confusion if the name is changed.
All right, Dr. Ishmael Holver, thank you. Thank you very much for your time this evening. He joined us on issues surrounding Kotoka International Airport being changed to Accra International Airport. Well, we hit the streets of Accra to get some information. What do you think about Kotoka International Airport being renamed Accra International Airport? These are some views of some persons in Accra.
I think most Ghanaians and the diaspora are used to the Kotoka Airport. So changing the name sounds a bit, confusing. But in the other hand, changing it to Accra International Airport, I think Ghana, the capital town of Ghana is Accra. We all know that. So I think it's best we choose like Accra International Airport.
There is Kumasi International Airport, and there is GHOne International Airport. So for me, I insist we should change it because we are in Accra and it's a greater Accra, so we have to change it to what's the name? Accra International Airport. So that's why I suggest we do.
The reason why I want them to change the name of the airport is that the Kotoka Airport is a
All right, so that's about all we have for you on Inside, but we're not done with the bulletin. We'll be bringing you some business updates. We'll be bringing you some sports stories. And we'll cross over and bring you some international news. Be my guest. Stay with me. We're coming back shortly with more. All right, thank you very much for keeping faith with us. We're back with some more local stories, and here, police at Temeng checkpoint on the Koforidua-Mamfe highway in the eastern region have arrested a woman for allegedly trafficking a huge quantity of suspected narcotics believed to be cannabis. Well, the suspect was traveling in a Toyota Vexi from Koforidua to Accra on Tuesday afternoon, February 3, 2026. And when the vehicle was stopped for a routine inspection, a team of 3 male and 2 female officers conducted a thorough search of the vehicle and passengers' luggage, uncovering an Ecolac travel bag at the rear. The bag contained large amounts of neatly wrapped suspected narcotics hidden beneath clothes. The woman was identified as the owner of the bag and arrested on the spot. She reportedly confessed to owning the bag and engaging in drug peddling as a source of livelihood. Eastern Regional Correspondent Kojo Ansa, who witnessed the arrest, said the suspect and the seized substance have been taken to the Eastern Regional Police Headquarters to assist with ongoing investigations. Let's now bring you some updates from our world of business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana.
Let's now bring you business as ECOWAS is partnering with Ghana's National Food Buffer Stock Company, that's NAFCO, to boost regional food security. Well, this mandate has prompted the renovation and modernization of some NAFCO's warehouses into a state-of-the-art facility. Well, Chief Executive Officer George Arabu Otto disclosed that the project is supported by the World Food Programme and the ECOWAS Commission, adding that the assignment requires larger storage capacity, making the expansion and upgrades essential.
In order to carry out our major mandates of food security, managing the national food security on behalf of government, was the lack of storage spaces. All our warehouses were not in a good state. So I set about repairing them, at least the small one that we could do, we did that. I set about appealing to World Food Programme, ECOWAS Commission, etc. I had a series of meetings with them. They bought into our program. They saw the sense in what I wanted to do. So they came to our aid. And as I sit here today, there are a number of warehouses, especially up north, that World Food Programme has decided to take over, renovate, modernize, add a laboratory, food testing laboratories to them, free of charge. We are not paying a dime. They are doing that for ECOWAS Commission. Has also come to me. We've had a series of meetings. They have also agreed to renovate some of the warehouse, renovate and not only renovate, to modernize it into a world-class, ultra-modern warehouses where we have all the gadgets there to test the food to make sure they are wholesome for human consumption. For our assumed office, ECOWAS, the ECOWAS Commission, Abuja, they advertised for 2 things: either you produce for them or you store for them. Okay. And then we, Burkina Faso, won the storage aspect. But you know, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, they withdrew from ECOWAS. Yes. So ECOWAS sat down and said, well, once you are not our member, we can't keep our food with you anymore. So they asked Ghana to do that. So they brought their goods here.
We'll do more tonight in business as Ghana has lost an estimated $54.1 billion in trade-related illicit financial flows over the past decade, ranking the country as the 3rd most affected in Africa. Well, a new report by Global Financial Integrity finds that nearly 28% of Ghana's total trade is linked to misinvoicing, price manipulation, tax evasion, particularly in key export sectors such as gold, cocoa, and oil. Well, the report further shows that trade with G7 countries alone accounted for more than $20 billion in losses, draining critical public revenue. Experts warn that these invisible financial outflows directly undermine investments in health, education, and other essential services, deepening Ghana's fiscal and development challenges. All right, so he's all set tonight. I called him the gentle giant. Benghazi is standing by with the latest from our world of sports, but that will do for business for now.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And you will and someone has expressed a strong desire to showcase Ghana's culture and traditions at the upcoming FIFA World Cup to be held in USA and Canada. Speaking on the international media, he emphasized that the team intends to use the global stage to highlight Ghana's heritage at the World Cup.
We're going to come in big bunches, I'll tell you that. I think big tournaments like this, we want to show our culture, we want to show we're different to other nations.
Have announced the appointment of Julius Ben Emuna as the club's new general manager director, marking a big addition to the Phobia's administrative leadership in the club. Julius Ben Emuna joined the House of Oak team with vast experience in football administration, having built a solid reputation within Ghana football over the past decade. His appointment forms part of the club's broader strategy to strengthen its management structure and enhance professionalism across departments in the club. Now, prior to his move to House of Oak, Emuna served as director of competitions at the GFA. Now, Julius Ben Emuna is a former sports journalist who worked with EIB Network's Empire FM in the Western region. Let's go out to Morocco, and they are not taking the decision that came in from CAF. So because they are appealing against the decision of CAF to indeed ban and suspend some players of the Moroccan national team. They indicate that indeed for them, they are not happy with the results that was given out by CAF after punishing some of their players and also, giving them a hefty fine. According to them, they are appealing to all decisions that were released by CAF. They are unhappy with the decision that was released by CAF. CAF initially had to punish Senegal themselves with some fine on their coach, a ban on the coach as well, and some players involved. But also, did not leave out the Moroccan Federation, as they were also punished for their role in the melee that happened in the final game between Morocco and also Senegal in the Nations Cup finale. The legal challenge follows the decision that came up from the CAF committee that met after the final was marred by the mid-match walk-off by the Senegal national team, and of course the fan violence that we witnessed as well. In a release from the Moroccan Federation, according to them, they don't believe that what CAF released is a fair reflection of what happened in the game, and the decision that was taken as well is not good enough, and that they are appealing that CAF must come again and restore what they believe should be the right thing, as in punishing Senegal, awarding Morocco the trophy itself, and then, of course, not punishing Morocco for any role they played in the melee that ensued on that final day between Morocco and Senegal at the Nations Cup. And that should be it for us in sports.
It's now time for us to bring you international news, and here more than 50,000 people have been evacuated from their homes in Kas El Kabir, about 190 kilometers north of Morocco's capital, Rabat. Severe weather and heavy rainfall across several provinces have caused significant flooding in the town. The Interior Ministry says the displaced residents are being sheltered by relatives or housed in temporary facilities set up by authorities. So yes, the situation in Rabat and other parts of Morocco deteriorating because of heavy downpours. All right, so we're grateful that you stayed with us throughout the period. My name is Kweku Temeng. On behalf of the entire production team tonight, I would want to say a big thank you. But tonight, if you'd want to stay with television, then stay with us right here on GHOne TV. Enjoy the rest of your evening.